Music is one of the oldest and most universal forms of human expression. But where did it all begin? Long before instruments, notation, or formalized composition, early humans discovered rhythm and sound as tools of communication and emotion. Part 1. The Origins of Music. First Rhythms and Sounds. The first rhythms. Anthropologists suggest that humans may have started creating rhythm using clapping hands and stomping feet, producing repetitive sounds for coordination or social bonding. Tapping stones, sticks, or shells, exploring resonant tones and natural materials. Vocalizations, humming, chanting, or using the voice to mimic environmental sounds. Rhythm may have helped group coordination during hunts, rituals, or storytelling. In a world without writing, rhythm was a shared language. Music as communication. Before words, humans likely used sounds to convey messages and emotions. Pitch and tone conveyed urgency, danger, or celebration. Repetition reinforced memory and storytelling. Groups could synchronize actions and create cohesion. This early form of communication is what some scientists call proto-music. It blurred the lines between language, emotion, and social coordination. Natural sounds as instruments. Primitive humans observed the world and used nature as a sound palette. Stones of different shapes produced distinct pitches. Hollow logs or shells amplified sound naturally. Wind, water, and animal calls inspired patterns and rhythms. Over time, humans began experimenting deliberately, turning environmental noises into structured sound. The line between play, ritual, and communication became indistinct. The role of community. Music in early societies was not private. It was a social experience. Group clapping or chanting strengthened bonds. Communal drumming may have synchronized heartbeats and movement. Ritualistic sounds invoked shared meaning and emotional release. These experiences laid the foundation for music as both art and social glue. Psychological impact of early music. Even simple rhythms had profound effects on the human mind. Repetition and beat induced trance-like states or focused attention. Collective sound promoted cooperation and empathy. Exposure to harmonious tones may have influenced emotional and cognitive development. Music was no longer just a sound. It became a tool for shaping human experience. Transition to structured music. With these first sounds and rhythms, humans began experimenting with patterns. Alternating beats and sequences created primitive melodies. Vocalizations evolved into early chants and songs. Coordination of multiple sounds introduced basic harmony. These experiments marked the first step toward formalized music, setting the stage for instruments and civilizations to follow. Takeaway. The origins of music are deeply rooted in human curiosity, creativity, and social connection. From clapping hands to the first melodies, early humans discovered that sound could communicate, unify, and inspire. In the next part, we will explore the emergence of the first musical instruments and how they transformed early societies. Part 2. The first musical instruments. Tools of sound and culture. After humans discovered rhythm and vocalizations, the next major leap was creating instruments. These were not just tools, they were extensions of human creativity and culture. Primitive instruments. The earliest instruments were simple, crafted from materials available in nature. Flutes made from bones, some dating back over 40,000 years, capable of producing melodic tones. Drums from animal skins and hollowed logs, producing deep, resonant sounds. Percussion with stones or sticks for rhythmic accompaniment or signaling. These instruments allowed humans to explore pitch, tone, and rhythm more deliberately than with just their bodies. Functions of early instruments. In early societies, instruments were not purely for entertainment. Ritual and spiritual purposes, drums and flutes, were used in ceremonies to communicate with the unseen. Social cohesion, music reinforced group identity and coordinated activities. Communication, long-distance signaling using horns or drums. Music became a shared cultural tool reflecting societal values and beliefs. Technology innovation in instruments. Even primitive humans experimented with design. Hollow bones or logs were tuned to specific pitches. Strings made from gut or plant fibers allowed for early plucked instruments. Resonating chambers amplified sound naturally. These innovations demonstrate that musical experimentation is a form of early engineering. Cultural significance. Instruments became central to community identity. Specific drum patterns signaled events or celebrations. Flute melodies accompanied dances and storytelling. Certain instruments were reserved for leaders or spiritual figures. Music began to encode memory, tradition, and social hierarchy. Psychological and social effects. The introduction of instruments enhanced the emotional impact of music. Drums could induce trance-like states or heightened alertness. Flutes and melodic instruments could soothe or inspire. Ensemble playing required cooperation, coordination, and social learning. Music became both a personal and collective experience, shaping behavior and perception. Transition to civilizations. As societies evolved, instruments became more sophisticated. Multi-note flutes and early stringed instruments introduced melody and harmony. Instrumental music began to complement vocal chants and storytelling. Music became a core part of cultural identity and ritual. These developments laid the foundation for complex musical systems in ancient civilizations. Takeaway: the first musical instruments were not just tools, but cultural catalysts. They transformed simply sounds into structured expression, fostering community, spirituality, and creativity. In the next part, we will explore how music influenced early civilizations, from rituals to social hierarchy. Part 3. Music and Early Civilizations, Rituals, Culture, and Power. As humans transitioned from small tribes to organized civilizations, music evolved beyond rhythms and instruments. It became a fundamental part of culture, ritual, and societal structure. Music in rituals and spirituality. Across early civilizations, music was deeply tied to religion and ritual. Ancient Egypt, harps, flutes, and drums accompanied ceremonies honoring gods and pharaohs. Mesopotamia, lyres and percussion instruments played during temple rituals and festivals. China, bone flutes and bells were central to court ceremonies, symbolizing harmony with nature and heaven. Music was not entertainment. It was a bridge between humans and the divine, shaping belief and experience. Social cohesion and hierarchy. Music also reflected and reinforced social structures. Specific instruments or melodies signified rank, authority, or membership in a group. Professional musicians often held prestigious positions in courts or temples. Participation in communal music strengthened identity, loyalty, and social bonds. Through music, societies regulated behavior, celebrated achievements, and transmitted tradition. Music and storytelling. Before widespread writing, oral traditions relied on music to preserve history. Epic tales, genealogies, and laws were recited with rhythmic accompaniment. Music enhanced memory retention, making it easier to pass knowledge across generations. Storytelling through song blurred the lines between entertainment, education, and record-keeping. This function made music a cornerstone of cultural continuity. Psychological impact in civilizations. Music could control emotions, inspiring courage in warriors or calm in worshippers. Ritualized patterns and melodies promoted focus, trance states, and collective identity. The combination of rhythm, melody, and instruments amplified social influence and emotional resonance. Music became a tool for governance, persuasion, and psychological cohesion. Innovation and complexity. Civilizations introduced more sophisticated instruments and musical theory. Multi-stringed lyres and early harps expanded harmonic possibilities. Scales and notation systems emerged to standardize music across regions. Ensembles and orchestration developed for ceremonial and entertainment purposes. These innovations reflect how culture, technology, and human creativity co-evolved. Music as a reflection of power. Rulers used music to display authority. Grand performances, exclusive instruments, and court orchestras. Religious institutions used music to legitimize influence and inspire devotion. Music became a symbol of civilization itself, marking the difference between organized societies and less structured groups. Takeaway: in early civilizations, music was much more than art. It was a vehicle for ritual, social cohesion, storytelling, and power. Understanding these roots helps explain why music continues to be central to human society today. In the next part, we will explore the development of musical scales, notation, and the first composed melodies. Part 4. The birth of musical scales and notation. As civilizations advanced, music became increasingly structured and complex. This evolution led to the creation of musical scales, tuning systems, and the earliest forms of notation. The problem of consistency. Early musicians faced a fundamental challenge: how to reproduce the same melody or harmony reliably. Oral tradition could preserve simple tunes, but more complex compositions risked distortion. Instruments varied in size, shape, and material, affecting pitch. To solve these challenges, civilizations began developing formalized systems of sound. Musical scales. A scale is a sequence of notes arranged by pitch, creating patterns humans find aesthetically pleasing. Ancient Mesopotamia used heptonic scales, or 7-note scales, over 4,000 years ago. Ancient China, pentatonic scales, or 5-note scales, dominated early compositions, forming the basis for folk and ceremonial music. Greece, philosophers like Pythagoras studied mathematical ratios in music, discovering intervals that were harmonious to the ear. Scales allowed music to be transmitted, analyzed, and reproduced, laying the foundation for composition. The birth of notation. Notation, a system to record music visually, was revolutionary. Cuneiform tablets in Mesopotamia contained instructions for hymns and instrument performance. Ancient Greece developed symbols indicating pitch and duration. Early notation allowed composers to create and share music across time and distance, ensuring accuracy and consistency. This transformed music from ephemeral sound into enduring art. Impact on culture and society. Formal scales and notation influence societies profoundly. allowed the creation of larger ensembles with multiple instruments and voices, facilitated rituals, celebrations, and education through standardized melodies, encouraged theoretical exploration, inspiring philosophers, mathematicians, and scientists to study sound. Music became both a cultural and intellectual pursuit, blending creativity with analysis. Psychological and cognitive effects. Structured music enhanced the human experience. Recognizable scales and patterns produced pleasure and emotional resonance. Notation enabled complex rhythms and harmonies that engaged the brain more fully. Cognitive skills like memory, attention, and auditory discrimination improved through exposure to structured music. Music now operated on multiple levels simultaneously: aesthetic, emotional, social, and cognitive. Transition to composed music. With scales and notation, humans could compose multi-instrumental pieces, harmonize voices and instruments, experiment with rhythm, melody, and harmony deliberately. This marked a transition from communal folk music to composed, lasting works, the beginning of music art as we recognize it today. Takeaway: the invention of scales and notation was a pivotal moment in human history. It allowed music to become structured, shareable, and analyzable, paving the way for cultural, intellectual, and emotional exploration. In the next part, we will explore the evolution of musical instruments and composition in ancient civilizations, highlighting masterpieces from early cultures. Part 5. Ancient Instruments and Composed Music, Masterpieces of Early Cultures. As musical scales and notation emerged, civilizations began composing sophisticated pieces. Music was no longer only for rituals or social cohesion. It became an art form with structure, expression, and mastery. Mesopotamian masterpieces. Mesopotamia, one of the world's earliest civilizations, left written records of hymns and ceremonial music. Lyres, stringed instruments with resonant tones, often elaborately decorated. Sumerian hymns, recorded on clay tablets combining voice and instrument. Music served both religion and governance, performed in temples to honor deities and legitimize rulers. The precision of notation reveals complex rhythmic patterns and intentional harmonies, showing that early composers had advanced musical understanding. Egyptian compositions. In ancient Egypt, music intertwined with ritual, theater, and daily life. Harp, lute, and flute were central instruments. Temple chants and ceremonial songs guided spiritual practices and marked seasonal festivals. Music was often symbolic, representing cosmic order, divine presence, or royal authority. Art and hieroglyphs show musicians performing in ensembles, indicating early orchestration and coordination. Greek contributions. Greece combined philosophy, science, and artistry in music. Philosophers like Pythagoras explored mathematical ratios in harmony, creating the foundation for Western music theory. Instruments like the kithara and aulos were used in theater, poetry, and education. Musical competitions, public performances, and festivals emphasized composition and technique, inspiring innovation and social prestige. Greek music theory influenced scales, modes, and harmony for centuries, bridging mathematics and aesthetics. China and early Asian music. Ancient China developed complex tonal systems and instruments. Bone flutes, bronze bells, and zithers allowed for melodic exploration and ceremonial precision. Music was integrated into rituals, court life, and philosophy, especially under Confucian ideals emphasizing harmony in society. Early notation systems enabled accurate transmission of compositions, preserving culture across generations. Music became a tool for moral education, societal cohesion, and aesthetic expression. Innovation and ensemble performance. Across civilizations, ensembles combined multiple instruments and voices, creating harmony and rhythm beyond individual capability. Techniques like polyphony, melodic variation, and improvisation began to appear. Music reflected social structure, religious hierarchy, and cultural identity, transforming from personal or communal experience into structured artistry. Psychological and social effects. Advanced compositions influenced cognitive and emotional development through exposure to complex patterns, social cohesion by synchronizing communal activities and rituals, and cultural memory, preserving stories, values, and traditions through music. Music had become both a reflection and driver of civilization. Takeaway. By the time ancient civilizations mastered scales, notation, and composition, music evolved into a structured, sophisticated art form. Instruments and ensembles amplified creativity and social impact. Composed music preserved culture, inspired innovation, and shaped societies. These foundations set the stage for classical music, orchestration, and global musical traditions. In the next part, we will explore the evolution of musical notation, harmony, and the birth of early classical traditions. Part 6. The evolution of notation, harmony, and early classical traditions. As civilizations matured, music evolved beyond simple melodies into structured compositions with harmony and notation, setting the foundation for early classical traditions. Refinement of notation. Early notation systems allowed musicians to preserve precise pitch and rhythm across time and space, standardize musical practice across regions, and collaborate in larger ensembles without relying solely on memory. In medieval Europe, neumes, the first written symbols above text, marked pitch direction. This allowed monks and scribes to record chants accurately, creating a repository of sacred music. Harmony emerges. Harmony, simultaneous combination of notes, revolutionized music. Early parallel organum in medieval Europe paired melodies at fixed intervals. Composers experimented with consonance and dissonance, exploring emotional impact. Harmony allowed more complex emotional expression and enhanced communal listening experiences. This development transformed music from monophonic chant into layered compositions with depth and texture. The birth of scales and modes. Modes, patterns of whole and half steps, became fundamental in medieval, Renaissance, and Baroque music. Each mode conveyed specific emotional and symbolic qualities. Modes provided frameworks for improvisation, composition, and teaching. Scales and modes became universal language tools, bridging cultural and geographic gaps. Early classical traditions. With refined notation and harmony, early classical music took shape. Gregorian chant dominated religious life, unifying worship across Europe. Polyphony introduced counterpoint, independent melodies interacting simultaneously. Composers experimented with motifs, thematic development, and musical form. This period laid the groundwork for later masters like Bach, Mozart, and Beethoven, linking historical development to modern classical music. Instruments and orchestration. Keyboard instruments, early strings and wind instruments, allowed complex arrangements. Ensembles expanded, enabling richer textures and dynamic contrasts. Orchestration became an art, blending timbre, rhythm, and harmony. Music shifted from personal or ritual practice to public performative art, fostering culture and intellectual exploration. Psychological and social impact. Structured music reinforced ritual, education, and societal hierarchy. Polyphony engaged cognitive skills, memory, and attention. Music inspired emotional depth, reflection, and shared cultural identity. The combination of notation, harmony, and instrumentation made music a vehicle for emotional, intellectual, and social development. Takeaway: the evolution of notation, harmony, and classical traditions marked a pivotal transformation. Music became systematic, expressive, and enduring. Composers could communicate complex ideas and emotions. The foundations for modern Western music and global traditions were established. In the next part, we will explore how music traveled globally, influencing different cultures and creating cross-cultural musical traditions. Part 7. Global Musical Exchange: Cross-Cultural Influences and Traditions. Music is a universal language, but it has always evolved through contact between cultures. Trade, migration, and conquest spread instruments, scales, and styles across continents, shaping global musical traditions. Silk Road and Asia-Europe exchange. The Silk Road connected Asia, the Middle East, and Europe, enabling musical instruments and ideas to travel. Lutes, harps, and wind instruments moved along trade routes, influencing regional styles. Asian pentatonic scales inspired melodies in China, Persia, and eventually European folk music. This early globalization demonstrates how human creativity transcends borders, blending local traditions into hybrid forms. Africa's influence. African musical traditions emphasized polyrhythms, percussion, and call and response. These elements traveled through trade and later the African diaspora, profoundly shaping jazz, blues, and gospel in America, Latin American percussion styles, and rhythmic innovations in European compositions. African music's complexity and vitality enriched global music, demonstrating rhythm as a universal connector. Middle Eastern contributions. The Middle East contributed modal systems, microtonal scales, and ornamentation. Instruments like the oud and qanun influenced European lutes and harpsichords. Arab music theory introduced mathematical rigor in melody and rhythm, impacting Renaissance and Baroque compositions. Middle Eastern traditions show how scientific and artistic approaches intertwine, spreading musical knowledge worldwide. Colonial encounters and musical fusion. European colonization and exploration led to exchanges with the Americas, Africa, and Asia. Indigenous instruments and scales merged with European forms, creating new genres. Samba in Brazil, flamenco in Spain, Caribbean calypso and reggae. These fusions illustrate music as a living, adaptive force, reflecting social change and cultural blending. Modern globalization. The 20th and 21st centuries accelerated musical exchange through recordings, radio, and the Internet. Genres like jazz, rock, hip-hop, and electronic music integrate elements from multiple continents. Collaboration across cultures highlights music's power to connect humans emotionally and socially, despite linguistic or geographic barriers. Psychological and social impact. Cross-cultural music encourages empathy, understanding, and creativity. Exposure to diverse rhythms and harmonies expands cognitive flexibility and emotional perception. Music becomes a shared human experience, reinforcing identity while fostering global awareness. Takeaway. Global musical exchange shows that music is dynamic, adaptive, and interconnected. From ancient trade routes to modern digital platforms, humans continually borrow, blend, and innovate, creating traditions that are richer, deeper, and universally resonant. In the next part, we will explore the development of musical notation and composition in the modern era, from the classical period to contemporary music. Part 8. From Classical to Contemporary: Music's Modern Evolution. As centuries passed, music evolved rapidly, reflecting technological innovation, cultural shifts, and artistic experimentation. From the structured elegance of the classical period to today's diverse genres, music has continuously adapted and expanded. The classical period, 1750 to 1820. Composers like Haydn, Mozart, and Beethoven perfected formal composition and orchestration. Symphonies, sonatas, and concertos emphasized balance, clarity, and emotional depth. Notation became highly precise, allowing music to transcend geography and time. This era demonstrated that music could be both artistic expression and intellectual discipline. Romantic era, 1820 to 1900. Composers like Chopin, Wagner, and Tchaikovsky expanded emotional and harmonic range. Music became more expressive, personal, and dramatic, reflecting individual and societal struggles. Nationalism inspired folk melodies, dances, and rhythms to enter orchestral music. The Romantic era emphasized emotion over form, bridging personal expression with public performance. 20th century innovations. Technological advances transformed music production and dissemination. Recording devices allowed music to reach audiences worldwide. Radio and phonographs popularized genres beyond local communities. New styles emerged: jazz, blues, rock, electronic, and avant-garde. Composers experimented with atonally minimalism and electronic sounds, challenging traditional harmonic norms. This era blurred boundaries between classical, popular, and experimental music. Globalization and cross-cultural fusion. Increased travel, migration, and media exposure allowed blending of world music styles. Genres like reggae, hip-hop, K-pop, and Afrobeat incorporate local traditions with global trends. Collaboration across continents illustrates music's role as a universal language, fostering connection and creativity. Technology and contemporary music. Digital production, AI, and software tools revolutionized composition and performance. Musicians can now create, manipulate, and share music instantly, bypassing traditional constraints. Streaming platforms enable global audiences to discover diverse sounds, accelerating cultural exchange. Modern music reflects creativity, technology, and global connectivity, offering endless possibilities. Psychological and social impact. Contemporary music engages emotion, identity, and social cohesion. Exposure to diverse genres fosters empathy, learning, and cognitive flexibility. Music continues to be a cultural mirror, reflecting society's values, struggles, and aspirations. Takeaway: from the classical period to contemporary music, music evolved alongside human civilization, technology, and culture. Emotional depth, technical innovation, and global exchange shaped modern genres. Today, music is a universal medium connecting people across time and space. In the next part, we will explore the psychology of music, how it affects the brain, emotions, and human behavior. Part 9. The Psychology of Music: Brain, Emotion, and Behavior. Music is not just sound, it is a powerful stimulus for the human brain. Across cultures and eras, music influences emotion, cognition, and behavior, revealing why it has remained central to human life. Music and the brain. Listening to music activates multiple brain regions simultaneously. Auditory cortex processes sound. Limbic system regulates emotion. Prefrontal cortex handles attention, planning, and prediction. Complex compositions engage memory, pattern recognition, and motor coordination. Music essentially acts as a full brain workout, enhancing cognitive and emotional processing. Emotional impact. Different musical elements evoke specific emotional responses. Major keys often induce happiness and excitement. Minor keys evoke sadness, introspection, or tension. Tempo and rhythm influence arousal, energy, and relaxation. Even early humans may have used music for mood regulation, social bonding, and group synchronization. Music and social behavior. Music strengthens social cohesion and empathy. Group singing or drumming synchronizes heart rates and movement. Shared musical experiences foster trust, cooperation, and collective identity. Music has been used historically to coordinate work, celebrate milestones, or inspire armies. The social function of music explains its universal presence across every known culture. Cognitive development and learning. Exposure to music enhances memory, attention, and auditory discrimination. Playing an instrument strengthens fine motor skills and executive function. Musical training can improve language acquisition, spatial reasoning, and emotional intelligence. Music is both educational and transformative, shaping the brain as much as culture. Therapeutic applications. Music therapy is used for stress reduction, rehabilitation, and mental health treatment. Rhythm and melody can stimulate memory in Alzheimer's patients, reduce anxiety, and enhance mood. Structured musical interventions engage cognition, emotion, and social interaction simultaneously. Music is more than entertainment. It is medicine for the mind and body. Evolutionary perspective. Humans may have evolved to respond to music instinctively. Rhythms and melodies could have enhanced group cohesion, mating rituals, and emotional communication. Music likely provided an adaptive advantage, reinforcing social bonds and cultural continuity. Takeaway. Music is a multidimensional human experience, affecting brain, behavior, and society. From emotional regulation to cognitive development, from therapy to social bonding, music is deeply intertwined with what it means to be human. In the next part, we will explore how technology and digital tools are shaping the future of music. Part 10. Music in the Digital Age: Technology, AI, and the Future. In the 21st century, music has entered a new era, transformed by technology, digital tools, and artificial intelligence. From composition to distribution, the digital age is reshaping how humans create, experience, and share music. Digital production tools. Software like DAWs or digital audio workstations allows anyone to record, edit, and mix tracks, manipulate sound waves and effects, layer multiple instruments and vocals with precision. Musicians no longer rely on live performance. They can produce professional quality music from their home studios. Digital tools have democratized music, giving independent artists global reach. Streaming and accessibility. Platforms like Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Music revolutionized music distribution. Listeners can access millions of tracks instantly, exposing them to diverse genres worldwide. Algorithms and playlists help users discover music aligned with mood, culture, and taste. Music consumption has become personalized, global, and immediate. AI and algorithmic composition. Artificial intelligence can now analyze patterns, generate melodies, harmonies, and even lyrics. AI tools assist musicians in songwriting and production, remixing or mastering tracks, exploring novel musical styles and experimentation. AI is not replacing humans, but amplifying creativity and broadening possibilities. Virtual instruments and immersive experiences. Digital synthesizers, samplers, and virtual instruments replicate sounds from around the world. VR and AR technologies offer immersive concerts and interactive music experiences. Listeners can now step inside a song, exploring layers, instruments, and spatial sound in real time. Music is evolving from a passive experience into an interactive, multi-sensory adventure. Global collaboration. Artists can collaborate across continents without leaving home. Cloud-based tools and live streaming enable instant feedback, co-creation, and remote performance. Cross-cultural influences continue to expand, fusing traditional and modern sounds. The digital age accelerates the pace of innovation and cultural exchange, shaping the music of tomorrow. Ethical and philosophical considerations. AI-generated music raises questions about creativity, authorship, and the human touch. Accessibility tools allow everyone to create, challenging the distinction between professional and amateur. The future of music involves balancing innovation, human expression, and technological potential. Takeaway: music in the digital age is accessible, global, and interactive, enhanced by AI, digital tools, and immersive technology, a reflection of human creativity and technological evolution. As we look to the future, music will continue to adapt, inspire, and connect humans in ways we have only begun to imagine. In the next part, we will explore the science of rhythm and melody and why humans are naturally drawn to musical patterns. Part 11. The Science of Rhythm and Melody: Why Humans Love Music. Why does music make us tap our feet, sing along, or feel chills? The answer lies in the science of rhythm and melody and human perception. Rhythm and the body. Humans are naturally entrained to rhythm. Heartbeats, walking pace, and breathing create an internal sense of timing. Music exploits this entrainment. Fast tempos increase arousal, energy, and excitement. Slow tempos induce calmness and relaxation. Drumming and percussive rhythms synchronize groups, fostering cooperation and social bonding. The connection between rhythm and the body explains why humans dance instinctively. Melody and the brain. Melodies stimulate auditory and emotional centers simultaneously. Predictable patterns create expectation, while small surprises produce pleasure and attention. Brain chemicals like dopamine are released when melodies resolve harmoniously, explaining musical enjoyment. Melody taps into both cognitive prediction and emotional response, making music deeply engaging. Harmony and emotional depth. Combining notes simultaneously produces consonance or dissonance, affecting emotional perception. Consonant harmonies are generally pleasing and relaxing. Dissonance can create tension, suspense, or intensity. Harmony amplifies emotional storytelling, giving music its dramatic power. the universality of music perception. Infants respond to melody and rhythm before language acquisition. Cultural variations exist, but basic preferences for consonants, rhythm, and repetition are nearly universal. Music allows humans to communicate emotion and intention non-verbally, transcending language. This universality explains music's enduring presence across cultures and history. Cognitive and developmental benefits. Exposure to music enhances memory, spatial reasoning, and language skills. Musical training strengthens executive functions, attention, and auditory discrimination. Participating in music improves social cognition, empathy, and teamwork. Music is both entertainment and a tool for cognitive and social development. Evolutionary perspective. Music likely evolved to strengthen social bonds, signal emotional states, and facilitate learning. Rhythmic synchronization may have aided group coordination in hunting, rituals, and defense. Melody and harmony enhanced emotional communication, increasing group survival and cohesion. Music is deeply embedded in human biology, shaping how we think, feel, and connect. Takeaway. Humans love music because it engages our body through rhythm and movement, our brain through pattern recognition, expectation, and pleasure, our emotion through melody, harmony, and expressive dynamics, our social bonds through synchronization and shared experience. The science of rhythm and melody explains why music is irresistibly universal, emotionally powerful, and deeply human. In the next part, we will explore the role of music in culture, identity, and social movements throughout history. Part 12. Music, Culture, and Social Movements, the Soundtrack of Humanity. Music is not only art and entertainment, it is a mirror of society and a tool for change. Throughout history, music has reflected cultural values, inspired movements, and united people. Music as cultural identity. Every culture has unique musical styles, instruments, and rhythms. Folk songs, traditional dances, and ceremonial music encode values, history, and collective memory. Music strengthens community identity, connecting generations and preserving heritage. Cultural music serves as both entertainment and a vessel for storytelling and tradition. Protest and political music. Music has been central to social movements. The civil rights movement used songs like "We Shall Overcome" to unite and inspire. Anti-war protests leveraged folk and rock music to voice dissent and hope. Labor movements incorporated chants and hymns to mobilize workers and build solidarity. Music amplifies voices that might otherwise go unheard, acting as a catalyst for social change. Music in religious and spiritual life. Across cultures, music shapes rituals, worship, and spiritual expression. Gregorian chants, bhajans, and gospel hymns invoke emotion, devotion, and reflection. Drumming, chanting, and bells synchronize participants and enhance group cohesion. Spiritual music links humans to transcendent experiences, reinforcing faith and community. Religion and music are intertwined, demonstrating sound's power to move both body and soul. Music and national identity. National anthems, patriotic songs, and marches unite populations around shared symbols. Folk traditions maintain distinctiveness and pride even amidst globalization. Music reinforces social cohesion, loyalty, and collective memory. From villages to nations, music shapes collective identity and pride. Music as social mirror. Popular music often reflects societal issues, trends, and generational attitudes. Lyrics can highlight inequality, love, rebellion, or hope. Musical trends can forecast social changes, from jazz in the early 20th century to hip-hop in modern urban culture. Music is not passive, it is active commentary on human condition. Psychological and social impact. Music fosters empathy, solidarity, and shared experience. Participating in music, singing, drumming, dancing, strengthens social bonds. Music encourages collective memory and continuity, preserving both joy and struggle. Music shapes who we are, how we relate, and how we act together. Takeaway: music is humanity's soundtrack. It preserves culture and heritage, inspires movements and social cohesion, reflects societal values, struggles, and aspirations. From tribal rituals to global anthems, music has always been central to human life, echoing the story of civilizations across time. In the next part, we will explore the influence of music on technology, media, and the future of creative expression. Part 13: Music, Technology, and the Future of Creative Expression. Music has always evolved alongside technology, from early instruments to AI-powered composition. Today, innovation is transforming creation, performance, and consumption, shaping the future of music. Digital production and accessibility. Modern musicians use digital audio workstations, or DAWs, to compose, edit, and produce music. High-quality recording is accessible from home, eliminating traditional studio barriers. Tools like virtual instruments, synthesizers, and sampling allow infinite sonic exploration. Technology democratizes creativity, letting anyone bring ideas to life without traditional limitations. AI and algorithmic composition. Artificial intelligence can analyze patterns, harmonies, and rhythms to generate music. AI assists in songwriting, arranging complex orchestration, remixing or mastering tracks. Collaboration with AI expands human creativity, introducing novel musical possibilities. AI is a creative partner, not a replacement, enhancing artistic experimentation. Virtual reality and augmented reality. Immersive technology enables interactive music experiences. Users can explore musical layers visually and spatially, participate in virtual concerts and performances, experience sound in three-dimensional, personalized environments. Virtual reality and augmented reality transform listening from passive to active, deepening engagement. Global connectivity. Cloud platforms and streaming services connect artists and audiences instantaneously worldwide. Collaborations across cultures merge styles, creating hybrid genres. Social media allows musicians to share, promote, and receive feedback in real time. Music today is a living, evolving global dialogue, transcending borders and cultures. Technological trends shaping the future. Blockchain and NFTs may redefine music ownership and distribution. AI-generated adaptive music could respond to listener emotions in real time. Interactive apps allow fans to remix and personalize compositions. Technology empowers both creators and listeners, making music more immersive, participatory, and personal. Psychological and social implications. Music remains a tool for emotion, identity, and social connection. Digital platforms increase exposure to diverse sounds, fostering empathy and cross-cultural understanding. Technology may redefine what it means to create, perform, and experience music. The future will blend art, technology, and human expression in unprecedented ways. Takeaway: music is entering a new era of limitless possibility. Creation is democratized and globalized. AI and immersive technology redefine composition and listening. Music continues to connect humans emotionally, socially, and intellectually. As technology advances, music will remain an essential reflection of human creativity, culture, and imagination. In the next part, we will explore music's role in human emotion and mental health, including therapy and well-being. Part 15. Music, Memory, and Identity. Songs that shape us. Music is not just heard, but it is remembered, internalized, and tied to identity. Across a lifetime, songs mark moments, evoke memories, and shape who we are. Music and memory. Listening to music activates the hippocampus, the brain's center for memory. Familiar songs trigger vivid recollections, often tied to emotions and experiences. Musical mnemonics enhance learning, recall, and cognitive retention. For example, learning lyrics or rhythms strengthen auditory and sequential memory. Songs become temporal anchors, connecting past experiences with present emotions. Identity and personal history. Music plays a key role in self-expression and identity formation. Adolescents often use music to explore emotions, social roles, and belonging. Adults retain musical preferences linked to values, culture, and personality. Life events, first love, celebrations, hardships, are often encoded with music, forming a personal soundtrack. Music is a mirror reflecting our journey, culture, and individuality. Cultural memory and heritage. Beyond personal memory, music preserves collective history and cultural identity. Folk songs, anthems, and traditional music transmit stories, rituals, and values across generations. Music helps communities remember triumphs, tragedies, and shared experiences. In this way, music acts as a living archive of human civilization. Songs connect individuals to their community and culture, reinforcing continuity. Emotion, nostalgia, and music. Music can trigger nostalgia, a powerful emotional state linked to memory. Nostalgic songs evoke both joy and bittersweet reflection, enhancing mood and resilience. Emotional recall through music engages the limbic system, strengthening both memory and emotional intelligence. Through nostalgia, music connects us to our past selves and life experiences. Music, identity, and social cohesion. Music reinforces group identity and social belonging. Shared songs in communities, schools, or movements bond individuals and reinforce shared values. National anthems, protest songs, and cultural festivals illustrate how music unites, motivates, and defines collective identity. Songs are not just heard, they create social and personal cohesion. Psychological and cognitive impact. Repeated exposure to music enhances pattern recognition, auditory processing, and attention. Musical experiences stimulate creativity, problem-solving, and emotional regulation. Memory and identity reinforced by music strengthen resilience, self-awareness, and social connectedness. Music shapes how we think, feel, and relate to the world. Takeaway: music is deeply intertwined with memory and identity. It preserves personal and cultural history. It shapes personality, values, and emotional experiences. It strengthens both individual and social bonds. From the songs of childhood to collective anthems, music defines who we are and how we remember. In the next part, we will explore music in human evolution, why and how it became an essential part of survival, culture, and social life. Part 14. Music, Emotion, and Mental Health. Therapeutic Power of Sound. Music is more than entertainment. It is a powerful tool for mental and emotional well-being. Across cultures and centuries, humans have used music to heal, soothe, and inspire. Music and emotion. Music directly affects the limbic system, the brain's emotional center. Elements like tempo, key, and rhythm influence mood. Slow tempos induce calm and relaxation. Fast rhythms energize and motivate. Minor keys evoke introspection or sadness. Emotional responses to music are universal, yet deeply personal, allowing both individual reflection and social connection. Therapeutic applications. Music therapy is widely used in mental health care, reduces stress, anxiety, and depression, assists in trauma recovery and emotional processing, supports cognitive function in neurological conditions like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's. Techniques include listening to specific music, active participation, singing, drumming, or instrument playing, improvisation and composition. Music engages cognition, emotion, and motor skills simultaneously, making it a uniquely effective therapy. Neurological benefits. Music stimulates neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize and form new connections. Singing and rhythmic activities enhance memory, attention, and executive function. Group music making strengthens social cognition, empathy, and cooperation. Music literally reshapes the brain, enhancing both mental and social capacities. Stress reduction and relaxation. Listening to calming music lowers cortisol levels, heart rate, and blood pressure. Repetitive rhythmic patterns promote meditative states and mindfulness. Music provides a safe outlet for emotional expression, reducing tension and enhancing mood. From meditation to modern sound therapy, music is a tool for emotional regulation. Social and communal impact. Group music making, choirs, drumming circles, and ensembles fosters social bonding and empathy. Music in communal settings reinforces identity, belonging, and shared purpose. Celebrations, rituals, and social gatherings highlight music's role in collective well-being. Music heals not only individuals, but strengthens communities. Evolutionary perspective. Music may have evolved to signal safety, coordinate groups, and communicate emotions. Emotional resonance of music improves cooperation and survival in early human societies. Modern therapeutic use taps into these innate evolutionary mechanisms. Music is hardwired into human experience, supporting both mind and society. Takeaway. Music is a therapeutic force, regulates emotion and reduces stress, enhances cognitive and social function, strengthens both individual well-being and communal bonds. From ancient rituals to modern therapy, music continues to heal, inspire, and connect humans. In the next part, we will explore the intersection of music, memory, and identity, how songs shape who we are and how we remember. Part 16. Music and Human Evolution, the Role of Sound in Survival and Society. Music is not just an art, it is deeply rooted in human evolution, influencing survival, social cohesion, and culture. From prehistoric times to modern society, music has served multiple adaptive functions. Origins of musical behavior. Early humans likely used rhythm and vocalization for communication before language fully developed. Rhythmic sounds coordinated group activities like hunting, building, and defense. Music may have enhanced attention, memory, and social synchronization in small communities. These origins suggest music was not merely decorative, but functional, aiding survival. Social bonding and cooperation. Music strengthens group cohesion, crucial for early human communities. Singing, chanting, and drumming synchronized movement and emotion, fostering trust and cooperation. Shared musical rituals reinforced norms, hierarchy, and cultural identity. Music was a social glue, enhancing group stability and collective action. Emotional communication. Music conveys emotion without words, enabling subtle communication. Early humans may have used music to signal danger, joy, mourning, or mating interest. Emotional resonance from sound facilitated social understanding and coordination. Music allowed humans to connect emotionally across individuals, enhancing group survival. Cognitive development. Musical engagement stimulates brain regions involved in memory, pattern recognition, and prediction. Early exposure to sound patterns may have contributed to language development and auditory processing. Music training improves executive function, creativity, and problem solving. Music acted as a cognitive enhancer, preparing humans for complex social and environmental challenges. Ritual, culture, and identity. Music played a central role in rituals, spiritual life, and cultural transmission. Songs encoded stories, traditions, and moral lessons, preserving knowledge across generations. Music reinforced identity and cohesion, linking individuals to larger social groups. Cultural music strengthened both group memory and individual belonging. Modern implications. Although humans no longer face the same survival pressures, music continues to facilitate emotional regulation, build community and social cohesion, inspire creativity and cultural expression. Evolutionary roots explain why humans seek, create, and respond to music instinctively. Music remains an evolutionary legacy, shaping mind, society, and culture. Takeaway: music in human evolution, coordinated social activity and communication, emotional signaling and bonding, cognitive development and cultural preservation. From prehistoric rhythms to modern orchestras, music has always been a survival tool, a cultural mirror, and a social connector. In the next part, we will explore the influence of music on modern society, media, and global culture. Part 17. Music and Modern Society, Media, Culture, and Global Influence. Music today is more than art. It is a cultural force that shapes identity, media, and global connections. From radio to streaming, music influences how we think, feel, and interact. Music and media. The invention of radio and phonographs in the 20th century made music widely accessible. Television and music videos combine sound and visual storytelling, creating global stars. Today, platforms like YouTube, Spotify, and TikTok allow instant sharing and viral trends. Music and media together shape cultural norms, tastes, and global awareness. Global influence and cultural exchange. Globalization enables musical styles to cross borders, blending genres and traditions. Examples include K-pop, integrating Western pop and Korean culture; Latin reggaeton, influencing global dance music; Afrobeat rhythms inspiring European electronic music. Music fosters cross-cultural understanding and hybrid creativity. Global exchange makes music a universal language, bridging continents. Music as social commentary. Songs reflect social, political, and cultural issues. Hip-hop addresses inequality, urban life, and social justice. Protest songs challenge power structures and inspire movements. Pop and indie music explore identity, love, and generational experiences. Music is a mirror and amplifier of society, giving voice to collective thought. Economic and technological impact. Music is a major global industry, supporting careers in performance, production, and technology. Streaming and AI tools reshape creation, distribution, and monetization. Music drives economic innovation while remaining a cultural and social connector. Psychological and social impact. Music influences emotion, motivation, and memory. Shared musical experiences create community, solidarity, and collective identity. Exposure to diverse styles promotes empathy, creativity, and cognitive flexibility. Music continues to shape human behavior and societal values. Future perspectives. Continued digital evolution will expand global collaboration and creative experimentation. AI and immersive technologies will redefine listening, performing, and composing. Music will remain a cultural, emotional, and economic force, shaping society for generations. Music is both a product of society and a driver of cultural evolution. Takeaway: in modern society, music bridges cultures and generations, shapes media, identity, and social commentary, drives creativity, economy, and global connections. From traditional songs to viral hits, music remains an essential thread in the fabric of human culture. In the next part, we will explore how music inspires creativity, innovation, and interdisciplinary connections in human life. Part 18. Music, Creativity, and Innovation. Interdisciplinary Connections. Music is not isolated. It intersects with science, technology, art, and society, inspiring innovation and creativity across disciplines. Music and cognitive creativity. Engaging with music stimulates pattern recognition, problem solving, and abstract thinking. Learning instruments or composing encourages executive functions, memory, and imagination. Musicians often demonstrate enhanced creativity, applying musical thinking to other fields such as mathematics, programming, and design. Music acts as a cognitive catalyst, expanding mental flexibility and innovation. Music and science. Music has historically inspired scientific discovery and experimentation. Acoustic studies shaped physics and engineering. Mathematical patterns in scales and rhythm informed early mathematical theories. Sound analysis tools help scientists explore brain function, communication, and signal processing. Music and science are intertwined, showing creative and analytical thinking are mutually reinforcing. Music and technology. Innovations in instruments, recording, and digital production redefine musical possibilities. Technology enables interdisciplinary experiments like sonication of data, turning scientific data sets into musical compositions. AI and software platforms allow musicians and technologists to co-create, experiment, and innovate. Music drives technological creativity, while technology amplifies artistic potential. Music and visual arts. Music often inspires painting, film, dance, and multimedia projects. Synesthetic experiences link sound to color, shape, and movement, influencing artistic expression. Collaborative projects across art forms create immersive experiences that engage multiple senses. Music and visual arts together enhance emotional impact and audience engagement. Music and social innovation. Music fosters social cohesion, empathy, and activism, driving community initiatives and movements. Artists use music to educate, advocate, and mobilize audiences. Music-based programs support well-being, education, and cultural preservation. Music is a tool for creative social change, bridging individual expression with collective action. Global and interdisciplinary impact. Music connects cultures, disciplines, and generations. Cross-disciplinary collaborations inspire novel solutions, hybrid art forms, and scientific breakthroughs. The universality of music ensures it remains a source of creativity across all domains of human life. Music demonstrates that creativity is not confined. It thrives in connection, exploration, and collaboration. Takeaway: music fuels creativity and innovation by expanding cognition and imagination, inspiring science, technology, and art, strengthening social cohesion and cultural exchange. From composing to engineering, music is a bridge between disciplines, showing the interconnectedness of human thought and creativity. Part 19. Music in Education, Skill Development and Lifelong Learning. Music is a powerful educational tool shaping cognitive abilities, social skills, and emotional intelligence throughout life. Early childhood and cognitive development. Exposure to music enhances language acquisition, auditory discrimination, and memory. Singing, clapping, and rhythm games strengthen coordination and pattern recognition. Musical activities promote concentration, problem-solving, and creativity. Music in early education lays the foundation for lifelong learning and cognitive flexibility. Academic and skill development. Learning an instrument improves mathematical reasoning, spatial awareness, and executive function. Studies show a correlation between musical training and higher IQ scores. Music encourages discipline, perseverance, and goal setting, skills transferable to other academic subjects. Music is both artistic expression and cognitive training, boosting academic performance. Social and emotional learning. Group music making fosters teamwork, empathy, and communication. Choirs, ensembles, and orchestras develop collaboration and conflict resolution skills. Performing in front of an audience enhances confidence, emotional regulation, and resilience. Music education teaches life skills beyond technical mastery. Lifelong learning and personal enrichment. Adults benefit from learning instruments or participating in music communities. Musical engagement enhances brain plasticity, memory, and mental health. Hobbies like singing, drumming, or composing provide stress relief and personal fulfillment. Music encourages continuous learning and self-expression throughout life. Technology in music education. Digital tools, apps, and online platforms make learning more accessible. Virtual lessons, tutorials, and practice software allow personalized, flexible instruction. Gamification and AI feedback enhance motivation, engagement, and progress tracking. Technology expands educational reach, making music a global learning opportunity. Cultural and global perspectives. Music education preserves cultural heritage and global diversity. Learning traditional instruments or songs connects students to history, identity, and cultural appreciation. Global collaborations foster cross-cultural understanding and empathy. Music teaches both technical skill and cultural literacy. Takeaway: music in education enhances cognition, memory, and academic skills. builds social, emotional, and collaborative abilities, encourages lifelong learning, creativity, and cultural awareness. From early childhood to adulthood, music is a transformative force for personal and social growth. In the next part, we will explore the future of music, including AI, virtual experiences, and the evolving role of creators. Part 20. The Future of Music, AI, Virtual Reality, and Global Connectivity. Music is entering a new frontier, shaped by artificial intelligence, virtual reality, and global connectivity. The future promises unprecedented ways to create, experience, and interact with sound. AI in music creation. AI can compose melodies, harmonies, and even lyrics. Musicians use AI to experiment with new styles, refine compositions, collaborate on multi-genre projects. AI amplifies human creativity, allowing exploration beyond traditional limitations. AI is not replacing musicians. It augments creativity and accelerates innovation. Virtual and augmented reality experiences. VR and AR transform listening from passive to immersive. Users can explore music visually and spatially, attend virtual concerts in shared global spaces, interact with compositions in 3D environments. Immersive technology creates personalized, interactive, and unforgettable musical experiences. The future of music is multisensory and deeply participatory. Global collaboration and accessibility. Digital platforms enable real-time cross-border collaboration. Artists can share, remix, and co-create instantly with global audiences. Access to diverse musical styles promotes cultural exchange and hybrid creativity. Music is becoming a universal language connecting people worldwide. Music as adaptive experience. AI-driven adaptive music responds to listener mood, activity, or environment. Interactive apps allow users to customize and remix compositions. Music evolves from a fixed product to a dynamic, personalized experience. The future turns listening into active participation and co-creation. Ethical and philosophical considerations. Questions arise about authorship, creativity, and human identity in AI-generated music. Balancing technological innovation and human expression is essential. Musicians and audiences must navigate ethics, authenticity, and emotional impact. Technology reshapes music, but human creativity remains central. Educational and societal impact. Music technology enhances learning, accessibility, and inclusivity. Interactive platforms engage learners globally, fostering skill development and cultural literacy. Future music may strengthen empathy, global awareness, and collaborative problem-solving. Music continues to educate, unite, and inspire across generations. Takeaway: the future of music is collaborative, interactive, and immersive, enhanced by AI, VR, and global connectivity. It's a reflection of human creativity, culture, and technological evolution. From traditional instruments to AI compositions, music remains central to human expression and cultural connection, evolving with the times while preserving its essence.